in the 2024 NBA Draft goes to the Atlanta Hawks.
The story of these two Ignite Perth teams has to be Alex Sarr.
Alex Sarr is one of the best young prospects in the world.
Last year, Victor Wembanyama was absolute and undisputed #1 selection in the NBA draft. Right when the Spurs won the top pick, everyone knew it was Wemby going to San Antonio. Wemby was king of all draft updates, with all cameras constantly focused on him and journalists, and with NBA players speaking about his immediate impact on the league pretty much constantly. The story is a bit different in 2024. Instead of focusing who will be the next #1 selection this year for Atlanta Hawks, people focus more on Bronny James and his draft odds. This story overshadowed whole draft, and the draft itself is actually seen as maybe the weakest one ever, or one of the worst. Today we will be discussing a most probable #1 selection, but first let me remind you to hit like under this video and subscribe my channel. If you fail to do so, Paul Pierce will take a massive doo-doo on your doormat, and he will drive away with the sunset, on a wheelchair, like once he did during playoffs. Atlanta Hawks went up to #1 overall pick despite having the 10th best odds and like 3% chance at winning it. Will they commit a similar stinker as in recent past when they traded Doncic to Mavericks for Trae Young? This draft does not seem to leave so much room for errors. The talent pool seems to be kinda limited, at least according to mock draft specialists and scouts. Most logical selection for them seems to be Alex Sarr. Atlanta finished in the bottom 4 on defense last season, and Clint Capella is entering final year of his contract. Sarr's relation with Atlanta as a city is actually already established. Sarr lived in Atlanta for almost a year, in 2022, as a member of Overtime Elite. Sarr also told reporters that he often went to Hawks games as a spectator. Add to this that Atlanta absolutely sucked on defense, and defense is where Sarr excels at, and Alex's landing spot seems to be certain. Alex also publicly stated that he wants to go #1, so you do not have to be Sherlock Holmes to guess that this seems to be a match. But still, that is Atlanta Hawks, so do not be surprised if they pick different. But what type of player is Alex Sarr? 5 years ago he played for Real Madrid youth team. Then as mentioned he moved to USA, to Atlanta to play in Overtime Elite League. Most recently he played for Perth Wildcats of Australian Basketball League. There he averaged 9.4 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, with 52% shooting. You could say those definitely does not seem to be Wembanyama numbers as a prospect. But still, he is only 19 years old. He weighs 224 pounds and is pretty much a 7-footer when measured without shoes during draft combine. Add to this a wingspan of 7 foot 4 inches, and you know that he definitely has the body to be a solid presence in paint. What are they feeding those kids in France? Who knows, but Gobert, Wemby and Sarr definitely were not refusing mommy meals during their youth.
Trust my work and, believe in myself and enjoy it because it goes by really fast.
Oh, and as mentioned, Sarr is 19 years old, he can still get taller and for sure he will add some muscles to his frame once he joins NBA.
Al, the only real consensus, you talk to the executives who are in this lottery, is that this is probably the most unsettled first round since 2013. That was a draft where Anthony Bennett went #1 overall.
Recently, Rudy Gobert has shared his views on Sarr. "I think we got so much talent, it's exciting," Gobert said. "You go back 20 years ago, we had a few guys like Tony Parker and Boris Dio, and Nicolas Batum. And now you look and there is so much talent every year coming in." But Rudy also mentioned that Alex needs to work on his modest muscle mass. Embrace the moment and work on your body. Obviously, the skill is really important, but as a 7-footer in this league, the body is the key, and then the skill. Jonathan Wasserman scouted for some time Sarr, and he said that the obvious draw to Sarr revolves around his rim protection, defensive switchability, and potential to stretch from the floor from the 4 or 5 positions. Wasserman wrote, "He's going to serve as a roaming shot blocker who can guard and shoot around the perimeter." Well-known Jonathan Givony said about Sarr half year ago that Alex Sarr covers ground as well as any player in this class, rotating seamlessly for a weak side blocks with his 7'5" wingspan and impressive timing, showing superb mobility switching. recovering and contesting jumpers all over the floor. And that is guy who as maybe only one properly scouted and summed up Ben Simmons prior to draft, and pointed out that his approach to the game and work ethics is very dodgy, to say the least. So far it sounds optimistic, but let's not get too enthusiastic and let's remember that we are talking about one of the weakest drafts ever, in theory.
We first chatted back in August when you were in Nevada for the G League Ignite versus Perth Wildcats game. Had a good conversation then. How has your game evolved since then? How have you changed?
I think I became more physical.
Alex played in Australian Basketball League, not Spanish, not French, not Greek, or any other appreciated outside of USA League, but an Australian one. And there, he averaged 29% of shots from the three-point line. Not very impressive, especially when we are talking about a player who will be trying to score with a jump shot in the NBA, rather avoiding clashes under the rim, at least till he improves his physical strength. On top of that, he was playing a modest 17 minutes per game, so that is not a super good sample size, and not a very impressive one. So that is not surprising that Sarr decided to join Draft Combine in order to ensure that his draft stocks remain high. We are still talking about a player who in other drafts rather surely would not be seen as one of the top selections. Overall, what we can say of Alex Sarr right now, as a summary, is that he is a defensively inclined big man, fast on his feet, with ability to be a good shot blocker. His offense still leaves a lot of room for improvement, is inconsistent, and surely will be worked on when he starts his NBA journey. There is an expectation that Sarr may take a bit longer to properly develop, considering his current trajectory. A couple of scouts echoed that they'd much better prefer to select him further down in the draft, with his outlook creating a better value proposition if you take him outside of the top 5. In a stronger draft class, Sarr would project more as a later lottery to mid-first round talent, rather than a number 1 or top 5 pick. Will he end up drafted number 1 by Atlanta? We shall see. As always guys, please remember to hit like and subscribe my channel. It helps to grow the audience and develop my channel. And it means a lot, simply telling me that you enjoy my videos. See you next time.